You can now get a 30-day trial to experience The Athletic for free. Visit the link in the description below to try it now.
Oh, a fascinating observation. Well, anyway, Manchester United might need a new manager soon because, of course, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer presided over the 5-0 loss to Liverpool, and the reviews are in. Critics are saying bad. That was bad.
Not very good.
So here's the team as it is at the moment. We can see in front of JJ. And one of the things we thought we would talk about today is what this team might look like under new managers, the managers that are being rumoured to come in, and they are, Seb.
Antonio Conte seems to be the focus of a lot of conversation.
Top dog out there.
Yeah, Brendan Rodgers is in there, Graham Potter, which I find a little bit strange, but he's in the conversation.
Yeah.
And Zinedine Zidane, who seems to always be in the conversation about Manchester United, seems to default his way in there.
A perennial.
A perennial dog.
Yeah. Antonio Conte, as you said, there is at the top of many lists at the moment. Whether that is a fans list or newspapers lists, we're unsure. But we thought it'd be good to have a look at what the team might look like under him, because JJ, as far as I'm aware, Antonio Conte favours, at least in the Premier League, favours a back three, as we've seen with Chelsea in the past. And I think there are some relatively obvious problems with that and the squad.
Oh, you do you?
I do think that.
Yeah, so you're right. So
Thank
let's have
you.
a look. So, yes, we know that United have played this 4-2-3-1 with Solskjaer, and part of the reason for that is because Bruno Fernandes needs to play as the 10. So you have to have him in this little area here, which then means you kind of need to have at least two midfielders behind him. You can play a diamond, but it leaves you very narrow, and because Wan-Bissaka is not very good at going forward, you lose all your width on the right, and Shaw's not playing very well, and you rely on him for all your width on the left, so it just doesn't tend to work. But also, the problem they've got is Ronaldo doesn't do any of the pressing that you're supposed to do, and Fernandes, well, they're just badly coached, so you end up with four strikers, and we've covered this in other videos before, where they end up not being able to do what they want to do. Now, Conte likes a back three. He used it at Italy, he used it at Chelsea, changed it at half-time against, they were losing to Arsenal, weren't they, and they did them in. Did that happen?
So after the game at Arsenal, so there was a change in the game, but it was a kind of the legacy of the game was the championship winning season.
Right, well, let's say he puts Maguire on the left, and he puts Varane in the middle of this three. You get Shaw and Wan-Bissaka as your wing-backs. I've got too many players on the pitch now, which is cheating. But you could then take probably Greenwood out.
Here's your first issue, though.
Yeah.
Right, because I think the way that I see this, when you've got the three, you have two options. You can play the 3-4-3, which allows you for those wide forwards, or you can play the 3-4-1-2 as you've got here. And Ronaldo Cavani, I don't think anyone would argue that is a very exciting striking partnership, but it facilitates Fernandes. If you played the three at the front instead, of course, you have to sacrifice Fernandes, but at the moment, this formation that we have here is sacrificing Greenwood, Martial, Rashford, and Sancho. I mean, how do they fit in this?
Well, you can play different ways, and it depends how you want. I mean, it's not just about the actual shape and the players fitting in here, it's how you then want to win the ball back and how you want to get the ball forward. Ronaldo's not going to be able to run in behind to get into long balls. So Cavani would be like this, like Inter Milan. You had Lukaku and you had Lautaro Martinez, who did all the pressing. That's what Cavani does really well. And obviously they got to play in central positions because Ronaldo isn't the guy that can play off the wing anymore, although he does go in these positions. On
So
the left
he'd be a
half
bit
space.
like the Lukaku in this sort of
Yeah. And Lukaku does more than him because everyone in the world does more than Ronaldo off the ball.
Sure.
Because he's old and doesn't do things. But if you say you got rid of Ronaldo, you can't play him there. It's not FIFA. And then you could put Rashford or Sancho, say, onto this right bit here. And you could play with split strikers like this. It's something you could do with a 9.
Yeah.
But really, what you need to do is you could play Fernandes as a 9 here if you wanted to. You can't have Cavani there. You've then got to have Greenwood or someone on this left side.
Well, you wouldn't play Fernandes as a 9 probably.
No,
either,
you
would
wouldn't. And then you put someone through the middle. So if you put Ronaldo there, then he's not very. He's like basically a target man because he can't move very much. And so you're relying on poacher's goals in the box, which is what he's good at. Or you could play Cavani, the most likely thing, because Conte has a reputation maybe as a bit of a defensive coach. He's actually very attacking and has a very high press, very aggressive press. So you're going to have to play Cavani just like Diego Costa or Martinez before.
Feels like Lukaku, Costa, that's a very different bracket of forward to the ones Man United have available to them. It's a bit more finessey at Old Trafford now.
Yeah, but then they're maybe just badly coached. That's the thing. Like Sancho is part of that Borussia Dortmund team. He played in a 3. He's played as a front 3 in a back 3 system as well as in a 4-2-3-1, 4-3-3.
Do you like him contained within a system that's quite rigid? Conte likes to kind of, he's a bit of a puppeteer.
But then, because then if you have a rigid system, that means the players are allowed to then express themselves within that system. So if there's someone like Sancho, for example, I don't know, this might be the case, is that if he has too much freedom to choose what he wants to do, which appears to be a lot of the problem with Man United's forward line, they're not specifically instructed when and where to go, when to press, when to move. They don't know exactly what to do, and no one else does either. So unless you're completely in tune, you end up with just a bit of a mess, and you end up with all these guys all up front not doing anything together. But if you have the clear structure, that could really help.
Because Sancho makes good decisions. He just doesn't have the activity around him to kind of facilitate that decision making, if that makes sense.
But the problem is, you play Sancho, you can't play Ronaldo really, and you can't play Rashford, and you can't
Well, there's an additional player here that we haven't mentioned once, of course, which is Paul Pogba, who some may argue on his day or in the right formation is one of Manchester United's best players. Presumably, if Conte comes in, whoever comes in is going to want to try to get the best out of Paul Pogba. Where does he fit into either of these scenarios with the three? Because he's played in a three before, right? He played when he was at Juve. They played a three, right?
Three. I mean, he won the World Cup with France playing in a two with Conte, but then he kind of counts as 8 players. Yeah. So unless you can turn Freddie McTominay into that, and even Conte's not like Antonio Conte, not N'Golo Kante, you're not going to turn one of these guys into N'Golo Kante. But you could play Pogba. I mean, see other people who are mentioned, right? I'll mention some other people who are mentioned. Like Graham Potter has played Yves Bissouma as a 6, and you can maybe turn Pogba into that kind of player where he works in front of a back 3 and can then use. He's very good at playing like your long switch passes or even making progressive runs with the ball to carry it and helping in transition. So that's something that might be able to do with him. But his best games for United in this last while have been when Solskjaer has played a very structured 4-2-3-1 off of the left. Which again, you get rid of Sancho, maybe put him on the right or something like that. And then you get rid of, Lindelof can go away and you've got your back 4. But then that way you can get, what's his name? Bruno Fernandes in. Where the hell's he going? There. But Pogba's not there. It's just a problem. Like Pogba and Ronaldo are problems.
There.
Do I? 4-2.
Oh, no, you don't.
3-1.
Sorry.
That's 11. That's a regulation.
Yeah. I guess the problem is, right, that either way you look at it, under Conte, you imagine if he is going to play back 3 in one form or another, or if he's going to change things up and play a 4-3-3.
If he's hired.
If he's hired, to bring in a little bit more solidity into that midfield area.
Yeah.
The basic idea is that you're sacrificing 4 attackers for 3. And with 4, it's already structurally problematic because of the bloated attacking squad.
Yep.
When you reduce that to 3, whatever the formation is, it kind of becomes a bigger problem.
Yeah, but this illustrates the issue with Man United's squad building over the years.
For whoever comes in, right?
Exactly that, because the way it's been built, you cannot now, whoever you employ, you cannot now set out a team without wasting a lot of talent, either like an overpaid player that's being brought into the club or a developing player who needs to play to get better. Either way, someone's getting wasted and some kind of resource is being misused.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's say, for example, that we were to talk about Zidane. What are your thoughts on Zidane?
Zidane would be good at making everyone feel nice about themselves because he can manage a dressing room full of egos. And like in Real Madrid when he came in, players like Ronaldo, Sancho, Fernandes, Pogba, they might be better with someone who can talk to them on the level because they're all elite level players, right? So that's maybe one thing you get out of him. What you might get is better structure, might bring better coaching than what they're currently getting, because maybe this 4-2-4 works. Maybe that actually works if you make it somehow. But not in the current guys, not with the current players. You need a different kind of defensive midfielder. It's the same problem all managers will have.
Well, he had Casemiro, of course, at the base of his midfield.
Yeah, Kroos, Modric, Casemiro is one of the best midfields that you'll see.
Yeah,
sure.
For sure.
Freddie McTominay is not.
Also, Zidane would play Pogba. Tried to sign him when he was at Real Madrid. Yeah, Zidane is a Pogba fan. He would somehow, someone else is going to get sacrificed, whether it's Fernandes or a little bit of stability behind Pogba. Probably Fred, yeah.
Okay.
So they would do.
Graham Potter. Long term. I mean, the Athletic reported this morning, as we record this morning, that he's understood that it might be a consideration in the longer term. It didn't sound like that was a consideration now.
He would be, I think, an excellent choice. One of the things, tactically, his teams are really nice to watch. Clearly a very highly talented coach, and his sessions are meant to be really interesting, entertaining, and players like them. But the problem you might have with someone like Potter, and this is your point, is that he doesn't come with any sort of reputation of being if you're Ronaldo and Graham Potter turns up, it looks like a barbecue dad.
And tells you to curve your run.
Yeah, you spend 6 weeks, 6 months earning the trust of a character like that. Not even Ronaldo, but someone like Cavani or Pogba, and you waste a little bit of season. And this is not a job with a kind of a 5-year lifespan.
Well, the problem they've got is they can't press high if they play Ronaldo. And the way that they are currently taught to press doesn't work. So you can't play that sort of game. So the one you could do is have a deeper line of engagement where you let the team come out to open them up a little bit before you can try and engage maybe at halfway. That's the kind of thing that Mauricio Pochettino, another one sort of linked, would do with Spurs, where he'd try his line of engagement was, they play quite tight together. The vertical space would be quite tight. but then they draw a team out and then they try and engage round about here with lots of bodies together and try and push that way. But you're trying to coach these players who are signed because of the way that they play. Like Sancho that's not what his game is. Ronaldo is not his game. Rashford's never really been that. They're counter-attack players. So your best bet is to have a manager who, I mean, like Solskjaer's best teams are when they play in the counter-attack. And Potter plays very nice possession football. Zidane plays a kind of a balanced mix, just getting the best out of individual players, but he has the balance. United don't have the balance of squad, so he doesn't suit that whatsoever. We were just talking about, like, even like Brendan Rodgers would be, I think, a really good choice, but maybe a similar problem to Potter in reputation. But these are all pros, and if Potter turns up, puts on some amazing sessions that they haven't had for a while in the club, and like all behind the scenes say that they're not happy with the coaching staff, the players, I mean, when they say they. Sure. Suddenly, Potter comes along with Rodgers, like both two of the most highly rated coaches in Europe in terms of the sessions and the variety of them. They might suddenly realise that that's what they're meant to have, and then they'd be straight into it. I mean, like Alex Ferguson came from Aberdeen. Do you know? It's not like
sure. A different world now.
Yes, indeed.
Okay, well, it looks like if Solskjaer were to lose his job in the next few weeks, there's no straightforward answer in terms of a replacement.
Yeah, Antonio Conte, because he's one of the best managers in the world.
Right.
So I think that's the straightforward.
Oh, you said that at the beginning.
Could have saved like 10 minutes.
Good 10 minutes though.
Yeah, nice, fun.
Arf!
Tifo merch, coming to find what you're looking for. Tifo merch, put it on your body and drink out of it. From the grasslands of Australia to the peaks and plains of Antarctica and through the rivers of North America comes a shop of merch that is so damn cool that it's really cool. So cool you have to buy all the merchandise. Buy the merchandise. Come in and buy all our merchandise. Looky right here, there's merchandise, but your merchandise. Gotta get your hands on the merchandise. Buy the merch.
If you like this video, please consider subscribing to the channel. The Athletic is home to some of the world's best sports journalists, including David Ornstein, Daniel Taylor, Ollie Kay, Amy Lawrence and Rafa Honigstein. There are journalists dedicated to each Premier League team, so every fan gets the coverage they deserve, not just the big clubs. And you can try it for free now for 30 days. See the link in the description.